Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. It is Monday, January 4th, 2021 today. I'm very glad to see we have about 25 of you on the call today. We're glad that you could join us. This is definitely the re-entry period, I know, for a lot of us. I hope some people had a chance, if you were on vacation, to relax and reset a little bit. And I hope that that you're all doing healthy and that you're doing well and that your families are safe as well. So we are going to keep today's meeting to about 45 minutes is the goal today. There is a webinar that the State Business Center is doing for the grant program that was announced, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I want to make sure that we have time to get off and time to attend that. So welcome to our first response and recovery call of the 2021 year. This is a chance for our board of directors to get together with our members and with representatives from the city of SLO, from the chamber, from Cal Poly, and we have some great speakers for you today to talk a little bit about what's going on in our current environment. And our board does have our next closed board meeting on Tuesday, January 12th at 7:30 a.m. So I will be sending the board packet out for that at the end of the week. So thanks and hello and Happy New Year to all of you who are on the board. And speaking of those who are on the board, we are currently seeking nominees for our board of directors. So if you are on this call and you are the owner or a manager of a business in good standing, which means you have a current business license with the city of San Luis Obispo, and you're located within our downtown business improvement area, you are eligible to run for our board of directors. So if you're interested in joining us, it's a really exciting time to be part of this group. It is, just dynamic, I think would be the great word, but really we have very interesting conversations. It's an exciting time to imagine what might be possible as we plan for a future that does not involve every minute of our lives being consumed by thinking about an emergency. So if you're interested, please reach out to us today. And there are a number of people who are board members on the call today. Then you can reach out and chat with them if you want to know what it's like to be on the board. With that, I want to just do another thank you to all of our partners in the Light Up Downtown program. This has been such a joy for us to present, and it's still up in some capacity in downtown. We've welcomed safely people to walk through Mission Plaza, and Carson Butler Events did a wonderful job creating these fun Instagram sort of memory pods, if you will. And the holiday tree just came down this morning. It was a live tree, 20 feet tall, came from the Oregon forests, but the activation still remains. So we are really excited about what this possibility means for future holiday activations, and also just kind of using Mission Plaza in a new way of creating opportunities to surprise and delight passersby as they come through. So you can still see the Light Up Downtown program. And in fact, last night I saw a number of Cal Poly students taking their pictures with Santa, and that was kind of fun to see. And there's a new pod in Mission Plaza. There's a 2021 New Year's kind of disco ball themed pod. So Santa's house will be in Mission Plaza through next Monday, and you can search for Santa's Mouse, which is the wonderful scavenger hunt activity that the SLO Children's Museum did. That will be in effect through January 7th. And we'll have another interactive component that we'll be announcing soon. Because the Light Up Downtown program has been so successful, some elements of the Light Up Downtown program will be extended, including the very popular over the street zigzag bistro lights. So I'm sure there will be a lot of rejoicing about that news, and we're in conversation with the lighting company and the city of SLO about how to create a more permanent installation for those, but they will definitely be extended beyond the initial holiday period. And as I said just a minute ago, stay tuned for some more announcements about the Light Up Downtown program. We are looking for ways to continue bringing people safely downtown and showing them all about how they can come downtown, explore the shops, get takeout, and then head home during the duration of the stay-at-home order. Today also marks the first Monday of SLO Restaurant Month, and this is a very popular program run by the County Tourism Marketing District, Visit SLO. And the idea is that restaurants participate by offering prefix menus, and they're extending this program on a takeout basis through January. So if you go onto the SLO website, you can see a list of participating restaurants. And indeed, that also includes links to restaurants in our downtown. So we know that while the indoor and outdoor dining is not permitted, although takeout is permitted at the parklets, we need to support our restaurants because they are dramatically impacted by this situation. So this is a fun program, and we'll send out more information about that over the course of the next couple of weeks. With that, I want to invite Rachel, our COO, to talk a little bit about our current reality. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning, Bettina. Thank you. It's been 2 weeks since we last spoke, and we wanted to share a little bit of a comparison. 2 weeks ago, there were 8,460 cases of COVID-19 reported in SLO County. As of December 31st, 10,397. 2 weeks ago, the city accounted for 1,844 of those cases. As of December 31st, we account for 2,172 of those cases. 2 weeks ago, the total number of deaths due to COVID-19 was 59 in our county. As of December 31st, 82 people. That's 23 people in the last 2 weeks. This is deeply affecting our community, and our thoughts are with their loved ones, their families. More and more, we're learning of people who, maybe we know people who have passed as well. I know I have had friends of friends who have passed away due to COVID-19. So this is just another reminder of the surge that we expected to start happening with the holiday mixing. I encourage everyone who may be symptomatic or may have been exposed to please visit readyslo.org to learn more about testing. We do remain under the stay-at-home order as the ICU capacity remains low. The state website is down this morning, so I don't have that exact number, but I'm going to imagine that the Southern California region is still at 0%. And again, that is not to say that there are no ICU beds in SLO County, for example, but readyslo.org has the information on how many beds are available, and I can drop that link in the chat if you'd like to see those numbers. With that, Bettina, I will turn it back over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Rachel. And seeing, I think, these two numbers side by side, the 2-week comparison is really a sobering moment, and we all need to understand that this is something we have to take seriously. In addition, we have discovered that there is a more virulent strain, a more contagious sort of mutation of the virus that has been discovered in California. So please use precaution. And I know that all of you have downtown businesses that are interacting with the public, are public facing, that you take every step possible to slow the spread. So there is some news coming from the federal side of things. We have a federal relief package, which was passed on Sunday, December 21st. Although there was a week lag between it being passed and signed into law, it was eventually signed into law on December 27th. And this package, the stimulus omnibus package, includes restarting a boost to the weekly federal unemployment insurance benefit that's at $300. And it also extends pandemic unemployment assistance, or the PUA, for independent contractors. This is a special note for anybody who works in salons or services, or anybody who's an independent contractor, or perhaps somebody who's employed by the event industry, etc. Excuse me. The Paycheck Protection Program will be extended, and there are some new types of businesses that are eligible now. We don't know exactly when that's going to come out. I expect that maybe somebody else on this call has more information about when the PPP will go forward. But for those of you who are still working through getting your forgiveness for the PPP filed, you can always reach out to the bank that you worked with to secure the PPP back in June or July. There's also $20 billion in small business grants, and we'll be carefully watching to see how that shakes out. My reading of the package, which again, I have not read all 5,000 pages of the bill. My understanding is that the $20 billion in grants would not come, would be administered by the states and would not be direct federal programs. But again, that's only my interpretation. So stay tuned, and somebody on the call might be actually more knowledgeable about it, including our newly appointed county supervisor, Dawn Ortiz-Legg, who I see is on the call today. Thank you very much for being with us, Supervisor Ortiz-Legg. Very excited to have you here this morning. The federal relief package also includes $15 billion to live event venues, which is of critical importance for downtowns, not just our downtown, but downtown and urban centers across the country. We know that the cultural services industry provides a huge economic impact and provides opportunities for people to come downtown to shop in our businesses, eat in our restaurants. So excited to see that included in this round. There's also the stimulus checks of $600. Again, this is the same size of the benefit that was in the last round of stimulus checks. So those of you who earn more than $75,000 in 2019, the size of the benefit could be reduced or eliminated. There's also increased funding for vaccine distribution and coronavirus testing, which is absolutely paramount to us getting through the next few months. And then there's also $13 billion in increased benefits for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. And this is worth mentioning because we know that food insecurity comes along with people when they're sliding into poverty and employment is dwindling because businesses are failing. So glad to see that there. On the vaccine distribution moment, I saw on Twitter this morning that in Florida, in some counties, they're using Eventbrite to let people sign up for slots to get vaccinated, which is just a really innovative way of doing things. I hope in California, we'll maybe have a little bit more streamlined program. And I'm eager to know more about that as that unfolds. On the state level, there is a California Relief Grant Program, and this program was announced after our last call on December 21st. Applications are currently open. I know a lot of you have probably applied when the application went live, and the Lindustry website that they're using had some overload problems, and it was challenged, and there were some error messages. So I know that's frustrating. Fortunately, the deadline, which had originally been January 8th, has now been extended through the 13th. So you have a little bit more time if you tried to apply and you were part of that initial flood. I mean, again, using the Eventbrite analogy I was just talking about, it's kind of funny to think that this is our, we're all trying to get tickets to the grant relief program. So anyway, you can learn more about that program, and the funds for this grant program are administered through the Small Business Development Center locally. And I encourage you to check out the website, careliefgrant.com, and Rachel's put that in the chat. So I'm glad to see that as well. I'd also be really curious during our Q&A period if any of you have applied for the grant successfully, or not successfully, if you've successfully completed the application, what your experience was. So if you want to drop that in the chat, or we can talk about it a little bit more when we get through our presentation. Thank you very much. And then on the local level, the hyper-local level, we have the City of SLO and the Chamber have partnered on an additional $500,000 for this second round of grant funding. It says on the slide, which launches today. I took this from an email that came out December 30th. So it launched December 30th. And the deadline is this Friday, January 8th. So hopefully in a minute, we'll invite Lee Johnson from the City of SLO to talk a little bit about how that's going. And I know we've got Jim D'Antona for the Chamber as well. So with that, let's hear about Cal Poly. Courtney is on our board of directors. Happy New Year, Courtney. And I understand that we're back, right?
We are back. Good morning, Bettina. Thanks for having me, and Happy New Year to everyone. Yes, today is the first day of winter quarter, and this quarter looks very similar to the fall, with about 4,500 students in de-densified on-campus housing, and the vast majority, of course, is held virtually. We have about 10.5% of classes that are in person this quarter. Nearly 1,500 students moved into the residence halls and on-campus apartments over the weekend. If any of you frequented downtown, Target, Costco, you probably noticed the influx of students coming in. And we have just over 3,000 more that are set to move in on the 8th and the 9th. So trying to accomplish a staggered move-in schedule. Students who met certain criteria, which I'll explain in a minute, were and are required to get tested for COVID-19 within 3 days of their arrival to campus, immediately when they arrive on campus, and then will be required to test twice per week throughout the quarter. So who is required to participate in the ongoing testing? That includes people who live in university housing, have any face-to-face classes, work on campus, participate in research on campus, use any of our on-campus services, or live in the same household as a Cal Poly student who meets any of that criteria. We're also asking all students to comply, even if they don't meet any of those mentioned criteria. Part of what allows us to execute the enhanced testing is our saliva-based testing, which allows us to test up to 4,000 students per day. Different from fall quarter, failure to comply with our ongoing COVID-19 testing will result in a student's loss of access to in-person campus services, which includes in-person classes and virtual classes, the rec center, the library, dining services, and loss of their technology, so their portal access, email, and all of that. Access will be restored to them once they do have that COVID-19 test. Cal Poly will continue to enforce local and state health and safety guidelines through the Student Code of Conduct process, which we've talked about many times. Violations can lead to possible suspension or expulsion. We also expanded our on-campus isolation capacity by 50 beds. So now we're up to 236 rooms on campus that can house either students who need to be in quarantine or who have tested positive and need to be in isolation. And we've developed a wastewater testing program which allows for earlier detection of COVID-19 in our residence halls. We know that from past behavior, as well as surveying students, that they would have returned to the community after break. A lot of them would have, whether or not we held classes 100% virtually. So by having students living and taking classes on campus, we're able to require that frequent testing and follow protocols essential to keeping, doing as much as we can to lower risk and keep people safe. And that's my report for today.
Thank you, Courtney. Appreciate that. And can you give us an update too on the emergency care site?
Alternative care site? Sure.
Alternative care site.
Yes, so that is actually run by the county. It is in our rec center. So Supervisor Ortiz-Legg might have some more on that too. But right now, all of that first phase of beds are still there. They have not been used to date, but we are able to get that location up and running quickly should we need it. And I don't know if the supervisor has anything to add to that, or if you have specific questions about what the beds are, anything like that.
I don't have anything to add, Courtney. I think that's accurate in that until the need comes, would they be utilized? So thank you very much for Cal Poly for hosting that, just in case. Thank
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you, Courtney. Appreciate that. Well, we're all, I think, waiting to see what happens. But the testing is good. And I will ask this again. I know I've asked it before, but we do not have access as civilians to the saliva testing. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. For now, at least, things change all the time, but we are not able, because of HIPAA and other restrictions, to offer that testing to anyone off campus. It comes up in our EOC calls. I have to leave by 10:30 on Monday mornings from this call to join our EOC meetings. And it comes up frequently on those calls that I bring it up actually as something that I want to continue bringing up, because it would be a great benefit, obviously, to our community if they were able to come on campus to do that testing. But as of this point, we are not able to offer it.
Great. And I know you have to go to another meeting, but do you happen to know if there have been any changes to the Cal Poly residences that are downtown?
So some of those units at the Lost downtown were had 2 students in them, and so all of our campus or Cal Poly run housing is de-densified to have 1 person in each room. But other than that, other than the de-densification, I don't think that there are other changes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Well, nice to see you and Happy New Year.
You too. Happy New Year.
All right. Up next, we have Lee Johnson with the City of San Luis Obispo. Hello, Lee. How are you today?
Good, Bettina. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. Just give a quick update today. The Buy Local bonus program continues. I think we have about 130 businesses signed up to participate in the gift card side of things. I don't have the latest data on how many people have turned in their receipts, but the numbers are getting up there. It seems to be working relatively well. So we're pretty excited about that. As you mentioned, the grant program is out there, and we're still getting a tally on how many people have applied. And we'll get that to you as soon as we can. Jim may have it as well. Also on enforcement, just so everyone's aware, if you have there's a slight kind of challenge between ABC and the county's interpretation of what's considered takeout, et cetera. So we're trying to work with the county and ABC to get that sorted out. But at least in the short term, if you have an ABC permit for your parklet or for outdoor dining, and you allow people to eat in that parklet, and you have the ABC permit, ABC considers that a violation, and they will cite you for that. The option is to give up your ABC permit for that outdoor area while we're in the stay-at-home order, and then renew it once we come back out, which will cost you $100, but they're willing to do that. They just look at it as part of the restaurant if it has a ABC permit, and they don't allow then to have the takeout eaten in that area. So it's a bit of a difference. We're trying to get it sorted out. It's just one of those things where state, city, county regulations kind of cross each other over. Unfortunately, it came up over the holidays. I think we worked most of it out, but we have a few things left to solve. Otherwise, that is it from my end, unless anybody has any questions.
Yeah, actually, I was curious if you have had any conversations about the stay-at-home order and what your interpretation was.
I don't know. I think the biggest problem, and this is just my feeling on it, no one's sure about the data yet. If you look at data across the board with the holidays and everything, no one's really, we have a general idea, but everyone's not sure if everything's come in and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm assuming we'll be in the stay-at-home order for a while longer yet, but it'll probably take this week for that to get sorted out, get the data more clear. And I would guess the county will have an update for us on Wednesday at their press conference.
Okay.
As to what that looks like. I also have not heard anything about us being separated as the three separate counties from the Southern California region. I have not heard anything on that yet. But it was pretty, last week was there's a lot of people not around. So I'm hopeful we'll get some more news early this week.
Okay. And were there any actions taken at the disaster council? Did the disaster council?
Yeah, so disaster councils right now are only updates unless there's a notification that action is going to be taken. So the last two were just updates, and I think tomorrow night is again just going to be an update with no action taken.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Lee. I'm sure we'll see each other again later. And thank you very much. So up next, we have Jim D'Antona with the SLO Chamber. How are you today, Jim?
Doing great, Bettina. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Awesome. Well, I just kind of follow up here on Lee. So buy local bonus program, we're working through that. And we're still accepting, for instance, when the program started on December 14th, usually our theory was you were going to have to turn in the receipts for that month in that month. That is not going to be the case. People can still turn those in, relatively soon. If you can get it in the first couple of weeks of January. Obviously with the delay of holidays and getting things in, we realize there are some folks who are not going to be able to get it in that fast. So we're still taking those receipts in. We're still working through the first group of gift cards that were purchased for that. So we still have some room there. And once we get, it'll probably take the rest of this month of January to get through that first batch. And then we'll start working towards our second batch on the Buy Local bonus program, where we will then reach out to new businesses to qualify for the next round. And again, we will keep kind of doing those in partnership with the city until we use up those funds. So that will keep going, and we still have some room on that. Obviously, the other thing was the grant, the small business relief grants the city has put out. As of today, Monday it closes this Friday, we have 300 applicants for 100 spots. So we are well oversubscribed again. And so we are going to work through that. Obviously we haven't done all of the checks to make sure everybody qualifies for that, that they're all businesses within the city of San Luis Obispo, et cetera. But as you will see, even if, 10, 15% of those are bad, we're still going to be over the 100. So we're going to be going through that process. We'll have people can apply up through January 8th. And if they're a business with a license in the city of SLO, they qualify, and they have to have less than 50 employees. So I would say of the 300 that applied, 50% did not apply for the last round. We did up the amount of employees a business could have. So that is, I'm sure, part of it, up to 50 employees per business. But overall, it seems like there's a lot of new folks who are applying. And so we'll be hopefully we'll close the business on Friday for applications, and then notify folks and get them their checks before the end of the month. So those are the two big items going forward. There was a small kerfuffle over the holidays there over the FDA applying a $15,000 permit fee to distilleries who had swapped and done sanitizer during the pandemic, because they now qualified as a certain category in their rules, but that was quickly squashed from the feds when the backlash hit pretty heavy over like a 48-hour period. So we connected with the congressman's office, talked to them, but it looked like they put so if anybody was out there reading the articles about the $14,600 permit fee that the FDA was charging, that should not be going forward. And anybody who was getting that that should be revoked. And if they're not, let us know so we can make sure, or to connect them with the congressman's office.
Great. Thanks for that update, Jim. I know our office is powered by CalWise Spirit sanitizers, so I'm glad to know that they're not going to be levied that fine. I have two questions for you. One about the buy local bonus program, and take this please with the spirit in which it's intended. If you are a shopper, how many times can you turn in receipt?
You can turn it at 3 separate times. So you have to turn them in, even if you turned in one receipt with $300 on it, it still only qualifies as one time for that $20 gift card. But if you then came in again and had a second receipt for over 100, you can do that up to 3 times to qualify.
Thank you very much, because I know that I spent more than $300 just in the last couple of weeks in my shopping. So
yeah, as long as they're on separate receipts, you're good. If it's on one receipt, that one only counts once.
Okay. And with the business grants, if you said a lot of people were applying that had not applied before, but are you eligible to apply if you applied before and received funding?
You are. Yeah, we definitely are not excluding those folks who had received funding before, but we will give a priority. There's 2 priorities the city, in our analysis of the review of the applications, 2 things. We will give priority to folks who had not gotten one before. And additionally, if you are in a sector that has been overly hit, if you're allowed to stay open for the whole time, you're going to be in a much different spot than someone who has to have been closed the whole time. So priority to those businesses who have been impacted the most during the COVID stay-at-home orders. Got
it. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And good luck with those applicant reviews. That's got to be extremely challenging and
so hard, especially with so many people who need this so much. We certainly know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully some of these federal programs that are coming down will provide a little bit of additional assistance so that will take some of the burden off of the city programs.
Absolutely.
And the state as well. So, okay, great. Well, shifting gears a little bit, we do want to share some exciting news coming from our friends at the SLO Museum of Art. So many of you are already aware that the SLO Museum of Art had a transition in leadership last year, and Leanne Standish left the Foundation for the Performing Arts Center, where she served most capably for the last few years, and is now the executive director of the SLO Museum of Art. So Leanne, I know you've been joining us. And you're also a former member of our Cultural Arts Committee for Downtown SLO. So we know that Leanne cares a lot about downtown and has years of experience running and working for contemporary art museums around the country. So Leanne, we'd like to invite you to share a little bit about what the museum has planned coming up this month and for 2021.
Thanks, Bettina. I'm so happy to see you all. I missed you. Happy New Year. Well, I really am thrilled to tell you that our most ambitious quick turnaround project is literally underway. And I hope that you will all stroll by the museum this week. When I was so lucky to do Jim's lunchtime program not that long ago, we talked about how COVID is forcing the arts institutions to pivot in significant ways, and it has allowed us to reconsider our entire building. So recently, I hope you all got to see it. First of all, we just repainted our building, which hadn't been painted in 100 years, or literally 60, I think. It looked so extraordinary. It just brightened up the whole downtown. And so now, even better, we've commissioned an internationally renowned artist. His name is Juan Alberto Negroni. Juan is a Puerto Rican artist based out of Dallas who is doing our mural program. He's out there right now working with students from both Cal Poly and Cuesta, student helpers who are helping him install the mural. They completed on the very first day of installation, fully completed the Mission Plaza side, and now they're working down the Monterey side. We plan to be finished Saturday and Sunday. And so I'll show you a couple of pictures, but if you have to come by to see it, it's really extraordinary. This mural will stay up for a full year. I'm going to share my screen here so you can see the artist's renderings here. This is Juan's work. So pretty. So you can look at the top left piece. That is the piece that's going to face our friends at Sidecar. So I'm sure that we'll have to come up with a cocktail that is inspired by this beautiful installation. This, I don't know if my little cursor works. The sort of body looking images are on the Monterey side, and they're being installed today. I couldn't be more excited. We've had so much support from so many entities in allowing us to get this done. This is the fastest project, the fastest turnaround I think ever for a mural project of this size. And so I want to thank everybody who's been involved. And I hope that you'll come by and see it. Oh, there are two panels. There's a panel on each side that'll be installed with, of course, didactic information about the piece and Juan's inspiration for the piece, but also QR codes that will invite families and visitors to engage in a dialogue about how they feel, how nature makes them feel, how something makes you harken back to a time in your childhood, which is specifically what Juan is sort of channeling in this piece about how this nature makes him feel at home. So that's a little bit about our piece. I hope you'll come by and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, Bettina.
Thank you, Leanne. You know, it's so exciting to think about the building of the museum being a canvas, and I really applaud you for coming up with that creative idea. And it'll be so exciting to see it go live. And additionally, with Mission Plaza and some of the other activations that we have planned, I think they'll be very complementary. I wonder too, and I'm just dropping this on you we haven't talked about this prior, but one of the successes that we had downtown with our businesses last year during the initial shutdown was the Mayflower Project, where we invited businesses to have artists come and paint flowers in the windows. And I'm wondering if we could perhaps work together and maybe do something where we're expanding the Mayflower Project this year, have it be a springtime event that could be with the museum as a centerpiece.
Yeah.
With that sort of jungle floral motif.
I love that idea. Absolutely. I hope this piece inspires a lot of projects. And it has a good long life for a year.
And you'll have other artists come in and paint the building after that initial year? Is that the plan?
Yeah, so we probably won't do it every January. We are so fortunate right now that it's not raining on us, which is kind of bad for painting. It was supposed to rain this entire week, and somehow the weather gods cooperated. But yeah, so probably every spring we'll redo the installation with a completely new piece.
Great. And will there be any kind of ribbon cutting or virtual celebration?
We have a media event where Juan Alberto will be available for interviews. Our guest curator is Emma Saperstein. Many of you know Emma. And that's on Saturday from 2 to 4.
Great. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for the update, Leanne, and welcome to your new position.
Thank you.
All right. I have kind of forgotten my Zoom protocol here, but I think now is the time when we go into our weekly polls. Is that right, Rachel? Oh no, I was going to ask. That's right. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel, for having my back. I did want to remind you a little bit about some of the programs that we have on the sidewalk in our downtown every day. We have our new program with the SLO outreach team. And this is a new program that we started November 30th. So just a little over a month, we've seen some really good success with this program. Maria and Cecil are our dedicated outreach specialists, and they come out for 17 to 20 hours a week. They have a person-centered approach. They give out items, no-cook food kits. They gave out some hygiene kits for the holidays. And the goal is really to connect unsheltered people with permanent housing solutions and get them into the case management system so they can get the services that they need. We're looking forward to sharing some of the successes of that program, as well as some of the education that we've had. We know that this is an issue that's really important to downtown, and we're happy that we have this partnership going right now. It's definitely problematic because there have been many cases of COVID in Forty Prado right now, and there are some innovative solutions that are coming down from the state, like Project Home Key, which repurposes hotels into low-income housing projects for formerly unsheltered individuals. We have one such institution that opened in Paso, but we do not have anything in San Luis Obispo currently. In addition to our homeless outreach team, we also have our ambassadors who are on call, and that's Jennifer and Yadvir, and you'll see them out and about cleaning up our streets and smiling under their masks. So with that, I think we're going to go into our polls currently, and these are the polls that we do weekly, and we're asking some questions about your general level of confidence. So today, what is your level of confidence for your business and economic well-being? We've seen, this is just I love looking at this chart every week because we get to see how all over the map we have been through this very challenging time. And, I know it's exciting for people to think about the possibilities of a new year, but there's absolutely no question that the reality we're still in is very much still one of challenges. So we'll see. You still continue to be, I believe, a very optimistic group, and that is understandable given that you choose to spend an hour out of your Monday morning each week talking about your community and how to support each other. So I'm interested to see what this one will say today. We can go ahead and end this one now and share the results on that. Looks like actually you're feeling pretty optimistic today. So thank you for your optimism. We appreciate that. And let's keep that spirit going because we are still in the tunnel, although there is a light at the end of that tunnel. So thank you for your optimism. We're going to go into poll number 2 now, and that is asking, what is the biggest challenge facing your business today? So are you worried about people getting sick? Are you worried about hiring employees? Are you worried about the lack of foot traffic? Are you worried about access to economic relief? Hopefully that has been dissipated a little bit because of some of the news that we shared with you today. And the big winner, and this is what every single economist is talking about, this is what every news program is talking about, and my favorite, Kai Rizdal on Marketplace, he always talks about this uncertain consumer confidence because it really is the consumers who run this economy. So that has continued to be kind of our number one concern. But I think also we're starting to see more people become concerned about their employees becoming sick, as Rachel shared earlier, with the acceleration of this virus and the more contagious strain coming out and the surge on the surge. It's understandable that the closer it gets to us, the more we're worried about keeping our employees safe. So we'll go ahead and end that now. We've had about more than half of you voted on that one. And again, uncertain consumer confidence is the number one winner. The second is the lack of foot traffic, and this is totally understandable. We are operating under a stay-at-home order, so it makes sense that people are not necessarily going out and about, but we're doing everything we can to make sure that downtown is clean and safe and attractive with some safe activities for people to enjoy. So that leaves us at the end of our meeting today. So at this time, we would be happy to take any questions. As I mentioned earlier, I am curious if anybody has filled out that state grant program, if they successfully completed their application, if they've had, what kind of experience they've had, if they'd be willing to share that. I'm curious. I will be filling that out this week myself. So if you have any tips or pointers, it would be great to hear. Or if anybody else has anything they'd like to add. Anyone? Well, we do have our board president, Pat Arnold, on the call. And I know, Pat, Happy New Year. I haven't seen you yet this year.
Happy New Year, everybody. And can you hear? Oh,
Yep, we can hear you.
okay. The mute button was looking. Hello, everybody. I just want to say thank you. And here's to onward and upward for a 2021. And really, I have a call to action for anybody that is on this call or knows anybody that would like to be on the board. We have a lot of work to do this year. It's a great group of people. It is a time commitment, but it is very manageable. So if you know anybody that would like to be on the board, please have them reach out to Bettina or myself, and we'll get them in the loop and talk about what it entails. And we're reaching all over town trying to find the right people to help govern us as we head forward. So thank you much, and Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you, Pat. And I just want to take a minute to really acknowledge your incredible lift that you've done over the last 2 years for us. So thank you for your leadership and your hundreds of hours that you give to our organization. And we just really are grateful for your leadership. So thank you.
Thank you.
Something we've also been working on, and Pat's taken a real leadership role in, is working with some of the property owners in the downtown. We had a great success with the Light Up Downtown program, activating some of the vacant storefronts with some nonprofit performing arts groups who decorated some of our holiday windows. That was a really nice element that we added, and we're looking forward to continuing to develop that program and perhaps continue it in some way, shape, or form. So there are a couple people on the call who decorated windows for us, and we appreciate that. And we appreciate the property owners who let the arts groups go in and decorate those windows. We expect that there probably will be some more vacancies coming. It's natural to expect that in this type of environment. And so we're trying to get ahead of what that might look like as we move through this year and we continue to move through this emergency. All right, well, with that in mind, I promised you that we were going to get done at 10:45 and it's 10:48. So I like to try to keep my my promises. I'm sorry I kept you late. I am grateful to all of you for taking the time out of your busy day. And if there's anything that you want to know more information about that you learned about on this Zoom meeting, please reach out to us. Reach us at downtownslo.com is our email address, and we look forward to hearing from you. And I hope that you have a pleasant Monday, a productive week, and that you are well.